been making YouTube videos for 18 years. And I know that sounds like a joke, but I did actually go back and check, and yeah, it's actually been that long. And in a way, I realize I'm kind of a perfect person to spend this much time on YouTube, because when I first started making videos, I genuinely did not care how I looked. Like, I guess I had some insecurities, but for the most part, the mean commenters actually ended up making me feel better about myself. I guess it's like exposure therapy. You know, when I was in my early 20s, I definitely was a little self-conscious about my janky teeth, but having a bunch of people point them out in YouTube comments very quickly led me to realize it doesn't matter. So I stopped worrying about that, and I stopped worrying about what people thought of my haircut or my makeup or my lack thereof, because when you get the amount of hate that I've had over the years, you just realize that sad dudes are going to pick any feature to mock in the hope that it lands, sometimes just making up things to mock out of whole cloth. Like, I remember a few years ago, a guy sent me a bunch of messages about how my hair was turning gray. And I was so confused because by that point, I had been dyeing my hair bright red for so long. I had no idea if I had any gray hairs, but this guy could tell. He could tell. As you may have noticed, this year I decided to stop dyeing my hair and grow it out. And honestly, a big reason was because I was curious. Is my hair turning gray yet? I wanted to know, am I going to be a white witch, a gray witch, a silver witch? Kind of hoping for silver, but as you can see, it's like kind of hard to tell. A little too early yet. Needs some more time to cook. But that one guy's weird obsession with the exact shade of my hair highlighted another way that the mean commenters actually make me feel better about myself. Because while they do randomly pick physical features to critique, just about zero of them have mentioned that I am looking old. Like, that's what the hair guy was going for, but he obviously failed. But it's funny, you can go back and see me aging for 18 years on camera, now in 4K, no fillers, no Botox, no facelifts thus far, and no commenters have really thought to tell me that I look old. And so I can only conclude from that that's because I look awesome. Like, I look awesome in general, but I also look awesome for my age. Anyway, I've been thinking about all this recently because this week I read an article that made me realize that the days of the trolls ignoring my natural aging process are numbered. Not because I'm making this video, which will give them the false idea that commenting on my age is what will finally make me have a breakdown and leave YouTube, but because in 2 months I will turn 44, and scientists have revealed that 44 is the age when it all falls apart. Scientists find humans age dramatically in 2 bursts, at 44, then 60, proclaims The Guardian, accompanied by a dramatic close-up of a disgusting elderly crone with her disgusting witch lines. Here's a fun aside. I distinctly remember when I was very young, my mom was staring in the bathroom mirror and she bemoaned her laugh lines. And I never heard that phrase before, so I asked what she meant, and she pointed to some of her wrinkles and said, "They're called laugh lines. You get them from laughing too much." And I asked why she would be upset about that, because laughing is a good thing. And she said, "But the wrinkles make her look old." And I said, "But you got them from laughing. That's a good thing." She told me I didn't understand, but I would understand when I got older. And I guess I have to get a little older still, because I still don't really get it. Like, if I'm supposed to be ashamed of them, don't call them laugh lines. Don't even call them crow's feet. That sounds cool too. Call them like shame divots. Anyway, according to The Guardian, there's now scientific evidence that I will surely become personally familiar with the visible signs of aging that my mother warned me about any moment now. Research suggests that rather than being a slow and steady process, aging occurs in at least 2 accelerated bursts. The study, which tracked thousands of different molecules in people aged 25 to 75, detected 2 major waves of age-related changes at around ages 44 and again at 60. The findings could explain why spikes in certain health issues, including musculoskeletal problems and cardiovascular disease, occur at certain ages. We're not just changing gradually over time. There are some really dramatic changes, said Professor Michael Snyder, a geneticist and director of the Center for Genomics and Personalized Medicine at Stanford University and senior author of the study. It turns out the mid-40s is a time of dramatic change, as is the early 60s. And that's true no matter what class of molecules you look at. Oh my God, my molecules, all my molecules are going to die in 2 months. Okay, let's do some real talk. I'm probably not going to suddenly evolve into my true elderly witch self on my 44th birthday. This study is interesting, but absolutely not deserving of these breathless headlines that do nothing besides give people new things to be self-conscious about. The actual study was published this month in Nature Aging, Nonlinear Dynamics of Multiomics Profiles During Human Aging. It's available in full online, and as always, links to absolutely everything I talk about in every video are found in the transcript, which is always linked in the description box below or above or wherever it is these days, and found at patreon.com/Rebecca or over on skepchick.org. The most important takeaway of this study for you and me, the average lay people concerned about the state of our aging molecules, is that while the researchers collected a lot of data, it came from only a handful of people they found in and around Stanford University. There were 108 subjects, all between the ages of 25 and 75, only 8 of whom were under the age of 40. The subjects gave samples of blood, stool, and swabs over the course of less than 2 years on average. And the results weren't compared to earlier draws from the same subjects, but between subjects of different ages, all without controlling for lifestyle factors. So this paper absolutely does not tell us that each of us will experience a huge, unavoidable biological jump in aging-related problems on our 44th and 60th birthdays. The authors acknowledge the study's limitations at length. For example, we identified a notable decrease in oxygen carrier activity around age 60 and marked variations in alcohol and caffeine metabolism around ages 40 and 60. However, these findings might be shaped by participants' lifestyle, that is, physical activity and their alcohol and caffeine intake. They also acknowledge that the sample size is too small and homogeneous, and the subjects observed for too short of a time, making it impossible to generalize their findings to a larger population. The Guardian, obviously, fails to mention any of that because fear of aging sells newspapers and good science does not. So, considering those limitations, what's the point of this study? Well, like most good research that gets published but doesn't usually get Guardian headlines, it adds a little bit of evidence to a larger hypothesis that other research has hinted at. Simply put, that aging is not one smooth, continuous process, but a kind of punctuated equilibrium in which we cruise along at more or less the same biological age until some big spurt hits. This is something that seems pretty obvious from a layperson's standpoint. Babies can go from useless loaves of bologna to walking, talking humans in the blink of an eye. We all went through puberty, and that was absolutely not a smooth and easy process of aging. But once we reach adulthood, we do tend to think of it as more of a steady process. Now that I'm older, and I have even older friends and relatives who I've helped care for, I've seen that that's simply not true for old age either. One day, I'm chatting with my friend about a musical she just saw, and she has a little trouble remembering the lyrics to her favorite song. A month later, she can't remember my name. A week after that, she doesn't recognize my face. And it's the same with mental as it is with physical health. An elderly relative spends years moving around his retirement community with no problem, but one day he unexpectedly falls and he never gets out of bed again. Even though I can point to these anecdotes to show why it makes sense that aging is an uneven stumble instead of a smooth path, scientists still need to collect data to see if that's true. And that's what this is. It's a little extra confirmation plus a sketched out roadmap for where researchers should look next. Are the mid-40s and the early 60s important moments for many people, most people, all people? Is it biological, behavioral, both? And crucially, can we eventually plan for these bursts of aging in a way that mitigates them by adjusting our diet, exercise, or other interventions? That is the point of this. Not to freak you out or freak me out about my incoming birthday. For my part, honestly, I just don't worry too much about aging. There was definitely a part of me that didn't think I was going to make it out of my 20s. So now that I'm in my 40s and my life it's objectively never been better, I'm pretty happy with how things are going. And so, yeah, I am that bitch that celebrates my entire birth month. I don't make everybody else do it. I just feel slightly happier for all of October. I treat myself a little more often. I have a little bit more fun. I smile more often. I get a few more laugh lines, I guess. And so, yeah, if the trolls do start coming at me for looking my age, I mean, it's not going to bother me. Yeah, I'm aging. As they say, beats the alternative. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you loved the video, please subscribe. And if you think the world could use more videos like this and you happen to have a few bucks laying around, head to patreon.com/Rebecca and join an awesome community of nerds like the people whose names you see on the screen right now. Thanks.